Parasol Patrol's YouTube channel. The Parasol Patrol was formed out of a need to protect our children's senses from harassment aimed at them and their families by protesters. We provide ear protection to muffle the taunts shouted at them, and use our umbrellas to shield them from the scary signs and angry faces. We walk between the protesters and the kids, buffering the children and young people from those who would do them harm. Parasol Patrol is comprised of community volunteers, and we are not a security force or counter-protesters. We do what we can in the spirit of peace and love so that the youngest can have a safe place in which to learn, share talents, and express their creativity. With the rise of the COVID-19 pandemic, schools are closed. Meeting up with friends may not be possible. Even going to parks can be tough, and it can be frightening for kids and adults alike. We still want to support our community, though, however we can. The Parasol Patrol is now offering micro-grants to families financially impacted by COVID-19. We will also be delivering boredom baskets to porches with books, games, puzzles, and more to help pass the time at home. Lastly, we want to share these story times and share the love of reading because reading should be fun. At the end of this video, there will be links on how to apply for micro-grants, receive boredom baskets, and we have a t-shirt fundraiser going with 100% of our profits going to fund these grants. Thank you for supporting the mission of the Parasol Patrol to continue to support kids during this tough time. We sincerely appreciate all you do, and remember, love wins, now and forever.
Hi friends, I'm Shirley Delta Blow. Welcome to Drag Queen Storytime. We live in very uncertain times right now, and I'm sure many of us are feeling anxious or scared. And so I would like to read some stories for you. Is that okay? Thanks. All right, here's my first one. It is Be Who You Are by Todd Parr. Oh, it's one of my favorites. Would you read it with me? Be who you are. Be old. Be a different color. Wear everything you need to be you. I do. Speak your language. Learn in your own way. Be proud of where you're from. Be your own family. Just be who you are. Would you say that now? Just be who you are. Be silly. Be brave. Remember, fish are friends, not food. Dance, play, learn, discover, read. Share your feelings. Happy, mad, sad, silly, scared, proud. Just be who you are. Your turn. Just be who you are. Try new things. Do you like tacos? Do you like pizza? Do you like noodles? Yeah, me too. Be confident. Stand up for yourself. Do you know what the mouse is saying? No. But what the mouse really means is, not today, kitty. Not today. Be energetic. Be peaceful. Who knows what this dog is doing? This is yoga, right? What pose is that dog doing? Downward dog. By a downward dog. It's funny. Be the best you can be. Just be who you are. Your turn. Just be who you are. So good. It doesn't matter what color you are, where you are from, or who's in your family. Everyone needs to be loved. Always love yourself and be who you are. Love, Todd. Be Who You Are by Todd Parr. I say, I love that story. And you say, I love that story. I love that story. Oh, so good. Are you ready for another one? Oh, okay. Oh, this one is one of my very favorites. This is called Not Quite Narwhal by Jessie Seema. It's shiny, so it's hard to see the cover. Oh, I'll sign it sideways like that. Not Quite Narwhal by Jessie Seema. Kelp was born deep in the ocean. He knew early on that he was different from the other narwhals. His tusk wasn't as long as everyone else's. He had different tastes in food, and he wasn't a very good swimmer. But his friends didn't seem to mind, so Kelp decided he wouldn't mind either. That is, until one day he was swept away by a strong current. I wish I were a better swimmer. Kelp found himself at the surface, closer to land than he had ever been before. Oh my gosh, high up on a cliff, he spotted a mysterious, sparkling creature that looked just like Kelp. Do you see it up there? What is it? Whisper it to me. Kelp swam towards land as fast as he could, which wasn't very fast at all, hoping that he would catch up with that creature that looked just like him. When he reached the shore, Kelp felt a bit anxious. He had never left the ocean before. He was nervous about walking for the first time, but the land creatures made it look so easy. What kind of animal is this red one? Yeah, a crab. And how does a crab move? Yeah, they go sideways. Do you think that'll work for Kelp? Oof, it didn't. How about this one? What is this green one? It is a frog. And what does it do? Yeah, it hops. Do you think that'll work for Kelp? Oh, it doesn't. How about this one? This is a turtle. How do turtles move? Yeah, they walk slowly. Do you think that'll work for Kelp? And eventually he did. He got the hang of it. Everything was on land was strange and beautiful, but also kind of scary. Kelp began to think he might never find that creature that looked just like him. But as he stumbled out of the forest, ta-da! Land narwhals. Actually, we're unicorns. And by the look of it, so are you. Kelp had never heard of unicorns before, but nonetheless they taught him all sorts of things about his tusk. We call them horns. Wow, what's coming out of there? Rainbow. Yeah, I like to think of it as Skittles. And they introduced him to unicorn delicacies. Do you see that? The unicone. That's funny too. And they showed him how to gallop. There was no doubt that Kelp was, in fact, a unicorn. Oh, he was having so much fun that he didn't want to leave. But he remembered all of his friends under the sea. Kelp missed them terribly. So he said goodbye to the unicorns and returned to the ocean. Come back soon. Kelp swam towards home as fast as he could, which wasn't very fast at all, hoping that the narwhals would still like him now that he was a unicorn. Oh, when he finally arrived, Kelp had butterflies in his stomach. Welcome home, Kelp! Kelp took a deep breath and told his friends the news. It turns out I'm not a narwhal. Well, of course you aren't. I'm a unicorn. We all knew that. They took it quite well. Kelp was happy to be home, but now that he'd experienced life on land with the unicorns, he couldn't seem to forget them. Did he want to be a land narwhal with the unicorns or a sea unicorn with the narwhals? He couldn't decide. Then he realized that maybe, just maybe, he didn't have to choose. Ta-da! Look at this cool picture. Oh, all the unicorns roasting marshmallows, having unicorns building sandcastles. My favorite part is over here. The narwhals and the unicorns playing volleyball with beach balls. And look at all the popped ones floating in the water. That's fun. Not Quite Narwhal by Jessie Seema. Oh, it's so good. I love that story. And you say? So good. All right. Are you ready for another one? Ooh. Oh my gosh, so good. I love this one too. Oh, Perfectly Norman. Before I read this, can I tell you a little story all about me? One of the reasons that I really like stories, books, is because sometimes I feel lonely by myself, like I'm the only one like me. I feel different. Sometimes that's scary. And you know what? When I read stories and I find other people, other places, other creatures, other animals maybe that I can relate to, I start to realize that I'm not the only one like me. Maybe I'm the only one like me in my family or in my school or in my city, in my church, on my team. But when I start to read these stories and I see other people out there, I start to realize I'm not alone. And if I can recognize those people in stories and in books, then I start to realize and see them in real life. And I can say, maybe I should get to know that person. Maybe I should go to that place. Maybe that's where I fit in. So that's why I like stories. Can you say I love that story with me? I love that story. Thank you. Okay, let's read Perfectly Norman. Oh, this is one that I love. Perfectly Norman by Tom Percival. Norman had always been perfectly normal. Until one day, he grew a pair of wings. Norman had imagined growing taller or growing a beard like his dad, but he had never imagined growing a pair of wings. Still, here they were, so he decided to test them out right away. Soon, Norman was swooping around and generally having the most fun ever. But then, he had to go in for dinner. You see, Norman had always been so normal, he didn't know how his parents would feel about his extraordinary wings. Dinner! As Norman went in, he covered himself up with a great big coat. His parents didn't notice the wings, but they did think it was odd that he was wearing a coat indoors. Bath time was problematic. So was bedtime. The coat was hot and uncomfortable, but Norman had decided that no one should see his wings. Ever. The next day, Norman went to the park, but he was far too hot to play any of his favorite games, and so it went on. Long car journeys were unbearable. The swimming pool was dreadful. And that was nothing compared to his friend's birthday party. Poor Norman. The only time that Norman could feel normal now was when it rained. One day, a boy tried to pull off his coat, and he had to run away, hot-faced, angry, and sad. He'd wished he'd never grown those stupid wings. But then he saw some birds flying high up in the sky, and he remembered the joy of his first flight. It occurred to Norman that it was the coat that was making him miserable, not the wings. Why don't you take that scruffy old thing off? Suggested his mom and dad. Norman looked up at them hesitantly. His parents smiled and nodded back. Norman smiled too. And then he threw off the coat and let his wonderful wings fan out. Norman leapt into the air. Finally, he was free of that coat. Oh, he noticed a few other children wearing heavy coats of their own. They looked up at Norman and around at one another nervously. There was a moment's pause. And then, whoosh! The sky was filled with flying people. Norman had never felt so happy. He realized that there is no such thing as perfectly normal. But he was perfectly normal, which is just as it should be. Perfectly Normal by Tom Percival. I love that story. Yes, thank you. Right there. Oh. Before I read this next one, would you do a little song with me? Let me take a little sip of my water. Ooh, it's a little song. Oh, so good. It goes like this. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Good. Now, next one is going to be stomping our feet. You ready? If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. Okay, so good. Now, the third one, we're going to change it up a little bit. Because we're doing drag queen story time, I'm going to teach you a little drag queen thing. It goes like this. It goes like this. Say, yes, queen. Give me a snap. You do it. Yes, queen. Okay. So it goes like this. If you're happy and you know it, say, yes, queen. If you're happy and you know it, say, yes, queen. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, say, yes, queen. So good. Now, let's do it all together. All three. You ready? I know you can do it. It's hard, but we can do it. Just because it's difficult doesn't mean that we can't try our best. Ready? If you're happy and you know it, do all three. Stomp, stomp. Yes, queen! If you're happy and you know it, do all three. Yes, queen! If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, do all three. Yes, queen! So good. Oh my gosh, you guys were fantastic. Give yourselves a round of applause. Oh, it goes like this. A round of applause. You're so good. You're so good. Are you ready for another story? Good. This one is called Unicorn and Horse. Written by David Miles with illustrations by Holly Mengert. I'm so excited. I like unicorns and I like horses. This is going to be fun. You ready? Here we go. This is unicorn. And this is horse. Unicorn is a unicorn. And horse is not. Unicorn has a sapphire horn, a silver coat, a rainbow mane, and perfect white teeth. Horse does not. Unicorn eats pink cupcakes for every meal. Horse does not. Unicorn makes rainbows. Horse makes something else. Can you go? Yeah. Unicorn dances tra-la-la-la-la. Horse sits grumpy, blah, 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 blah. Unicorn prances. Ha 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 ha. Horse looks frumpy. Paw, paw, paw. Unicorn makes everything cheery. Really cheery. Yeah. Horse does not. Of course, all the animals love Unicorn. He has a horn for Squirrel to play ring toss. Bird lines her nest with his beautiful hair. And everyone loves sharing his cupcakes. Won't you join us, Horse? No, I don't like you, says Horse. But what he meant was, I wish I were you. See that picture? Yes. Unfortunately, not everyone who heard about a unicorn was a happy or unhappy animal. A rainbow dancing unicorn who eats cupcakes for breakfast could make someone a lot of money. So, one night while everyone was asleep, two men crept into Unicorn's paddock. Quietly as they could, they tied up a startled unicorn in ropes and loaded him into the back of their truck. Then, they were off. The other animals awoke when they heard the truck. Hurry, hurry, they're stealing Unicorn. But I can't run fast enough to catch them, said Squirrel. And I can't fly fast enough, cried Bird. And I can't run on the road, said Fox. And I can't run at all, said Turtle. Only one animal could. Who's that? Horse. Well, Horse thought and thought and thought. And then he ran. And ran and ran. And with 6 great chomps of his big horse teeth, Unicorn was free. Thank you, said Unicorn. You're welcome, said Horse. This is Horse, and this is Unicorn. Sometimes Horse eats cupcakes, and sometimes Unicorn eats hay. Sometimes Horse makes rainbows, and sometimes Unicorn makes something else. Can you go again? Thank you. Yeah. Horse likes races. Unicorn likes ring toss. But most of all, they like each other. Horse and Unicorn are friends, and that's better than anything, even pink cupcakes. Unicorn and Horse by David Miles with illustrations by Holly Menger. I love that story. Wonderful. All right, friends, I got one more for you. You ready? Okay. This is a wonderful story. Who likes crayons? Okay, me too. This is called Red, a crayon story by Michael Hall. Go. Oh, this is a story about a crayon I know. I wrote it for you. He was red, but he wasn't very good at it. Oh dear. What is that? It's a picture of a fire truck. What color are they usually? That's right. His teacher thought he needed more practice. I'll draw a red strawberry, and then you draw a red strawberry. You can do this. Really. But he couldn't. Really. Like this? Oh my. Let's try again. His mother thought he needed to mix with other colors. Oh, why don't you two go out and draw a nice round orange? A really big one. A really orange one. But they made a big greenish one instead. Yuck. Oops. His grandparents thought he wasn't warm enough. Your class is making self-portraits for Parents' Night. Wear this warm red scarf. Oh, nice. It's so you. Oh, but it so wasn't. See, Goldie draws this. This is teal. There's purple. There's orange and green. There's red. Oh, dear me. I don't know if you can see their names. Silver and gray. That's funny. Everyone seemed to have something to say. Oh, sometimes I wonder if he's really red at all, says Amber. Hazelnut. Don't be silly. It says red right on his label. Cocoa Bean. He came that way from the factory. Fuchsia. Frankly, I don't think he's very bright. Grape. Well, I think he's lazy. Army Green. Right. He's got to press harder. Steel Gray. Really apply himself. Sunshine. Give him time. He'll catch on. Sea Green. Oh, dude. Of course he will. But he didn't catch on. Look, green drew a frog, black drew a sheep, brown drew a cow, and what did red draw? An ant. All the art supplies wanted to help. The masking tape thought he was broken inside. Well, this will help hold you together. The scissors thought his label was too tight. Oh, one snip should do it. And I thought he just wasn't sharp enough. Just stay still. But even with all our help and all his hard work, hearts, cherries, foxes, toes, he just couldn't get the hang of it. One day he met a new friend. Will you make a blue ocean for my boat? Well, I can't. I'm red. Will you try? So he did. Oh, thank you. It's perfect. Well, you're welcome. It was easy. And he didn't stop there. Blue bells, blue jeans, blue bird, blue berries, blue whale. Oh, I'm blue. He was red, blue. And everyone was talking. Oh, my son is brilliant, says Olive. Amber, who could have known that he was blue? Hazelnut, I always said he was blue. Cocoa Bean, it was obvious. Berry, his blue ocean really lifted me. Sea Green, whoa, dude, all of his work makes me so happy. Brown, his strawberries are my favorites. He's so intense, says Apple Green. Yellow, I'm going to make a green lizard with him, a really, really big one. Gray, oh, I hear he's working on a huge new project. Scarlet, he's really reaching for the sky. And he really was. Red, A Crayon Story by Michael Hall. I love that story. Wonderful. Thank you, friends. Oh, I've just got one more thing for you before I go. I've really enjoyed reading stories for you today. And I hope you find a little bit of comfort and peace in them. Know this. Yes, there's uncertain times, but there are things that we can do to make ourselves feel better and not worry about what's happening. We can make sure we wash our hands. We can make sure that we cover our mouth when we sneeze or we cough. We can make sure to clean up around our house. make sure we drink lots of water, get some sleep, eat well, spend lots of time with your family. Yeah, I love that story. So thank you so much for tuning in for our little drag queen story time. I'm Shirley Delta Blow, and signing off. Until next time, have a wonderful day. I love that story.